Hello, this is Brian Rowe with Meeples Included, doing a list today of the games that are nominated for the Portugal Game of the Year. I myself am a heavier Euro player, and this is the award every year that I look forward to. It has a history of nominating some great games. I believe this is actually the best list for people who are really into Euros to find new, interesting games, especially if they're looking for an occasional game or two that doesn't have a lot of US distribution. I cannot pronounce the name of this list. Someone please leave it for me in a video. The past winners of this list have been some incredible games, though. La Granja, Keyflower, Agricola, Brass, these are all wonderful games from the last 10 years. This list has also had some great nominees on it. I may go through some of those past lists in the future, but if you're just looking for great Euro games, definitely check out the winners and check out some of the past nominees. This year, there are two games missing from the nominee list that I would have strongly put on that list. Signore is wonderful. I think the rules are a little bit underbaked, though. There's some variations for it that shorten the length of the game a little bit to deal with the number of tiles there. I can kind of see why it didn't make it. It is my favorite of the dice drafting games, though. It is a lot of fun, and Nippon would have been a top runner for me in this particular nominating period. I'm very surprised that it didn't make it. Number 5 spot here, I've got Trickerion, which is the prettiest game on the list. If we were just looking at pure aesthetic beauty, this would be the top of the list. This is a Kickstarter game that kind of just goes on and on. Lots of different parts, lots of things that you can add on. I've played it twice at this point. First time kind of screwed up some of the rules. Second time, those issues were fixed. The reason that I'm putting it at number 5 on this list is that the spells, which are really the heart of the game, it's very difficult to figure out which spells lead into which spells and how you can work your components into a long-term strategy. It has the same issue that Caverna has, which Caverna is a wonderful game, don't get me wrong, that there is a lot of knowledge needed to choose a path, and it's very wide open, so the barrier of entry to really dive into the game is a bit high. I definitely recommend checking it out. Some people will really enjoy it, especially if they're looking for a game with more than 5 plays and they really want to dive into what each of those different spells do, each of those different tricks, and how to really maximize those. I would also play it with the variation on there. I don't remember exactly what they call it. I refer to it as Diagon Alley, where it gives you a little bit more access to different types of actions. The number 4 spot here, I've got Lignum. This is on the opposite end of the aesthetic appeal for me. In looking at the board, it looks like the game of deforestation. It actually is a little bit depressing to me. The game mechanics, though, are really good. This is the one on the list that I've played the least of, and I'm most interested in playing 1 to 2 more solid games of it. It looks very contentious from my first playthrough on it. I did enjoy it quite a bit. The aesthetics, though, were a little bit distracting. Maybe it's the theme there, but the mechanics seemed really, really good. I will be revisiting this game. Number 3 is Marco Polo, and this one is a dice drafting game with crazy asymmetrical powers for each individual. Some people start at the other side of the board, others can just rearrange the dice so they no longer have to draft. They just make them any number they want. The variation in these asymmetrical powers is what is so interesting to me. Some people hate it because you really go for different strategies with each individual, and it's like you're playing different games. There are multiple paths here, and I like the replayability of different asymmetrical teams or asymmetrical races or asymmetrical players. And that's where the appeal is in this game. I don't believe the individual players are balanced, which is why it's not at the top of the list, but I would love to see more game design in this space where you get a lot more replayability if you can play different strategies. Grand Austria Hotel And in putting this at number 2, very high praise for this game, I really need to emphasize that this is a 3-player game. It's got rules for 2 players and 4 players. At 4, it comes to a grinding halt. The way that turns are set up, if you are first, you've got this giant downtime where you can check Facebook, go play another game on the side, before it comes back to be your turn to draft the last die. At 3 players, though, this game moves forward at a wonderfully quick pace. The dice are not too punishing. Once in a while, you do have to re-roll a few times, and you may lose an action. But overall, the strategy, especially on the asymmetrical side, so that people are competing for different things, is very, very nice. The way that you can combo things together, choose different paths for victory. This is a solid game at 3 players and a wonderful game from this year. Number 1 here, I've got Mombasa, and I had a little bit of a rough time on my first play of Mombasa because there was an ideal track in the suggested gameplay. But there's a huge amount of variation in this game, and I've played it 4 or 5 times since then with different track variations, mixing the board up a lot, and that added a lot more to the game. It's got a light area control aspect, it's got a drafting aspect that gets really contentious and mean when people really know what's going on, a lot of player interaction. I enjoy this game quite a bit, and this is my prediction of the game that is going to win Game of the Year here, and I also think that it is the best game on this list. It has wonderful components, it's a pretty board overall, and it has very nice replayability and multiple different strategies that you can go for. For more Euroboard game content or gaming content in general, subscribe to Meeples Included. I do content here at Meeples. I also do it over at Mythic MTG Tech. And for more of a personal insight to me playing chess, Pokemon, law, those type of things, check out my channel, Sartorus. Thank you, and until next time, choose your actions wisely.